Ouais, bah j'ai vu que c'était plus bas. Du coup, j'ai monté le numéro 1, c'était bien. Hein. C'est très bien, mais là, de toute façon, tu vas mettre plus proche continue, tu vois. Ouais, je pense pas l'utiliser, vu les galères de points qu'il y a en Villars, ça va rien faire. Pas mal, ça. Vraiment les gros, là, c'est mieux. Ah, je vois ce que tu voulais dire, un apéro là-bas.
Sorry?
English?
Yeah.
You can't stay in this zone because you've mentioned at the camera at some point. Can you take this off?
Okay, sorry. You're welcome.
Oh, les chansons qui passent, là.
You can, if you want, you can be in between the blue and the play flags. Just
Okay.
not.
Okay, thank you.
Du film de l'autre côté, on peut se mettre à l'intérieur là.
Comment?
On peut se mettre là-bas à l'intérieur.
Non, c'est interdit à l'extérieur. Là, c'est juste, vous pouvez être entre le triangle vert et les carottes bleues. Vous voyez ce que je veux dire?
Ah bah tiens, il faut qu'on ait comme ça. Regarde, on est très bien. Mais non, mais là, regarde. Regarde, regarde ce truc. Là, la bière à 10h15, là. Regarde-le, là, tu l'as bien, là.
Vous l'avez bien noté?
L'idéal, ouais, il nous laisse aller trop proche.
Vous voulez qu'on regarde à laquelle
Utiliser un
c'est
doubleur,
possible?
utiliser un doubleur pour ça, s'il vous plaît. Au prix que ça coûte. Voilà. Je l'ai enlevé, Laura. C'est plus cramé, Laura. C'est over cramé. Je le remettrai pas, Laura, je pense. Franchement, à moins demande particulière, bien temporaire. Ça mérite d'être. Nino, t'as jamais été aussi brut. Non, mais enfin, je comprends. Hein. Non, mais je suis d'accord. Hein. Déjà, quand tu galères de faire le point, classique. Hein? Dites-moi. T'aimes voir. C'est fini. Voilà. Il y avait que ça qui était pas câblé sur la cam. C'est ce que je veux dire. Nora bien au chaud à boire des grands cafés en régie. C'est nickel. C'est ça pareil. Ouais. Je vois pas bien. J'ai moi-même des photos. Mais on lui a tellement raconté qu'il y était. Nora, au final, tout le monde y était tellement on l'a raconté. Tout le monde était là.
Oui, parce que
Oui, mais si je me mets en bas.
si tu vas couper, on peut faire des tests si tu veux.
Non, je pense pas que tu me vois, il y a pas un fichier là-haut. Ça.
Moi, si tu passes couper, c'est bon.
Ok, parfait.
Regarde, je passe ici mon portable. Bah, faut s'adapter, c'est cool, mais...
Ouais, mais non, parce que c'est toute la série. En fait, à chaque fois ça change. Tu vois, après, faut tout bosser.
pas de but. On voit le... Ils vont avec ça. Je regarde, le gars, je sais pas s'il est lifeguard à Miami ou s'il est suisse, mais il a tout latéral. Ça, honnêtement, Nora, ça vaut un coup de Villars. Est-ce que c'est... Excuse-moi. Non, non, je sais pas. Pas à 2 minutes là, je peux pas faire ça. Surtout quand tu mets dans le jeu. Bah là, j'avais un petit milieu de séquence. C'est la suite, hein. Ah, oui, ça fait bien. Est-ce que tu veux la... Ah ouais?
Ouais, non, je te jure, ça suit pas grand chose du programme. Ah, c'était du chier. Bon, au moins on est 3, donc ça allait vite. Donc tu vois, au moins quand on a fini lundi, il y avait peut-être pas quand c'était pendant 11 heures. Allez, au moins elle est tout bon. Comme j'ai déjà fait marquer.
Every mistake will be very expensive. Oriel Cardona Call has overtaken Paul Verbniak. Fitness, power and control. Another win. This is not all we are here for. This is an Olympics test event.
Committed to the evolution of ski mountaineering, now and for the future.
Welcome to Villars-sur-Olon in French-speaking Switzerland for the 2026 ISMF World Cup finals. Today's action comes from the Col de Bretagne, high above the resort of Villars in southwest Switzerland at an altitude of 1,800 meters. Villars is no stranger to hosting SkiMo events. 2019 saw them hosting the World Championships, and in 2020 the Youth Olympic Games came here. Was brought SkiMo to the world's attention for the first time. It's a beautiful, beautiful day here. A little bit cloudy, as you can see, but the conditions are fantastic. And we're going to have a look here now over this course and up through the diamonds, very similar to last year's course, 70 meters of vertical, up through 2 sets of diamonds there, then up the steps, 15 meters of vertical, no actual steps, but a good old-fashioned boot pack. This last little section on skins is actually much steeper than the camera will lead you to believe. Last transition, And there we have it down the hill into the finish line, where, quite frankly, there is great excitement waiting for everybody, not only in the race itself, but in the sprint rankings and in the overall rankings as well. It is the finals. These are the finals. It's been an intense season, and we're going to talk a lot about that as we go on. But there we are. That's our competition data. As I said, we are at 1,805 meters starting point. It's quite a high altitude to start with, finishing up there just above at 1875. As I was saying earlier, no stranger to holding competitions, and let's have a quick look though at the rankings. The rankings look a bit different this year because of the rather unusual unfolding of the season. Many of the main protagonists were not in Solitude in December, and Endurance Sprint was cancelled in January. Emily Harrop remains unbeaten in the races she competed in, but hasn't been at them all. So as it stands, even if she wins today, Margot Ravenel only has to be 5th to take the overall sprint win, and Julia Murata only has to be 4th to take the title. Emily Harrop could still win for the 5th consecutive year, but it is a big ask. In the men's category, it's a little bit more all to play for feel. The 2004 sprint winner, Thibaut Anselme of France, leads last season's victor, the Spaniard Oriol Cardona-Coll, by only 17 points. And he is only 30 points clear of the 3-time overall sprint winner, Arno Lieta of Switzerland, who will be hoping to bow out of his SkiMo career with a bang. His young compatriot, Jon Kissler, could upset the apple cart and take the crown from his very experienced rivals. It is all to play for. If you're just joining us and you are tuning into a sprint race for the first time, let me tell you a little bit about it. It is one of the It was in addition to the roster of events at Milano Cortina for the first time, and it is all athletes face a qualification round on a time trial format. The best 30 make it to the 5 heats. 6 athletes compete on each heat, and they have to compete 2 sets of figures which they can choose in the diamonds. The section on foot is mandatory, followed by another section on skins, and down they come the athletes. The first 2 athletes in each heat and 2 lucky losers make it through to the semi-finals. 2 semi-finals, the first 2 athletes in each semi-final, and 2 lucky losers make it to the final. The winner is the fastest athlete across the line. Well, I am joined this morning, I'm Katie Friend, I'm joined this morning by 2-time world champion and former member of the Spanish SkiMo team, Mireia Miró. Good morning, Mireia.
Good morning, Katie, and good morning, everyone that is listening to us today.
It's been quite a season, Mireia. It started in the US, we've had race cancellations, we've had the Olympics, long and intense for a lot of athletes on the circuit, some of them competing at the highest level in the shortest disciplines and the longest disciplines. It's been a season.
Definitely. It's not been a season we are used to, especially because we had for the first time ski mountaineering in the Olympic Games, which altered all athletes' calendars to get qualified for the Olympics, the athletes that were going to the Olympics with this goal of being there. So it's been a bit of a strange season with a lot of World Cups, European champs, the Olympics. So I imagine that this last push, it must be difficult for some of them.
Yes, it is, and we have, well, look on our screen there, Janneke Kerr is the race director, a former member of the Swiss SkiMo team. Big news in the Swiss SkiMo team. We are seeing the Arno Lieta retiring today. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But the season has moved from the United States to Villars. Along the way, we've been in France, in Andorra, Spain, Italy, and Azerbaijan. And we are here about to get to the women's heats. And what a competition for the women this year.
Totally. So the season has been very long, and especially in the spring we have had a beautiful fight between, as you were mentioning, Margot Ravenel, Emily Harrop and Julia Murata. They've been delivering like incredible fights in the sprint race, but not to forget also Marianne Faton, Mariana Jersikova, Joanna Himmer, Tatiana Paller, that we were seeing just on the screen, and many other athletes that are doing incredible performances.
Indeed, and here we have, looking at the qualifications, only 32 women on the start line today, so only 2 of them did not qualify. They are Elena Bonella, France, and Ursula Catton of Great Britain. Some emotional moments coming up, I think, today and tomorrow, Mireia, because it is we've announced the retirement, or we've heard the retirement announcements for Johanna Himmer of Austria and Marta Garcia Fares of Spain. And what an incredible pair of athletes these are, and what spectacular careers they've had.
They are 2 very, very, very loved athletes. We've seen these last days Joanna Himmer in social media, like everyone kind of celebrating this moment. I mean, giving this moment a beautiful place. But also Marta Garcia Fares, that she's been competing for so long. I mean, I've had the chance to compete with her for so many years, and she has had such a long career. She started on in the youth categories, I think in 2010, until now. She has had 1 child in between, and she has had a super long career, and it's been a pleasure to race with her, and also to have her giving to the SkiMo Mountaineering family all that she has given.
Absolutely, and both of these retiring athletes in the women's category, both mums, both wanting to go and spend a little bit more time with their young children, and to have managed careers at this level while raising small children as a mum is incredible. Congratulations to both of them. Let's have a look at who's on the start line. Robin Dessine up against Marianne Faton, the Grand Slam winner, and next to her, gosh, the big rival, Emily Harrop of France, and there Klaudia Chmielowska of Poland. Number 17, Anna Huet Onandia of Spain, and Tanaka Yuri of Japan. Gosh, Emily Harrop and Marianne Faton in a heat together, Mireia.
That's something always, this is a rivalry always beautiful to see. They are 2 of the most top athletes in the sprint race, and having them already on the quarters, on the heats together, it's just, for us, it's a delight.
Yeah, and since 2019, the overall sprint title has been won by either Marianne or Emily. Marianne for 3 years in a row, and then Emily for the past 4 years. There's a chance that it's neither of them this year. But let's talk about that in a second once we get the race underway. And they're off. It's the first heat of the final sprint race of the ISMF 2026 season. And Emily Harrop out there in her usual front spot. Anna Huet coming up fast, though.
Very, very fast. She's done a really good start, Anna Huet from Spain. And as you say, Anna Huet on the right of our screens, Emily Harrop just on the left. Emily Harrop that it's going hard on this sprint because her sprint title and overall depends on the results of this sprint. She knows she had to. She knows she has to do her best to try to have her chance to win the sprint overall. So let's see how the race unfolds.
Absolutely. I was chatting to Marianne Faton recently, and I asked her about the speedy starts, and she just said Emily is so fast off the start, she just can't emulate exactly the same. But it's not exactly like she's slow. There she is in 3rd place. Beside her is Klaudia Chmielowska of Poland. Emily Harrop, there she goes into the place we would normally expect to see her. But look at Anna Huet holding on.
This is quite impressive. I wasn't expecting this start from Anna Huet. She's holding Emily Harrop really well. We have still the foot part and the skis, but Anna Huet so far she's done a really great sprint start.
A little bit slower there on transition than she may have wanted to, and she's allowed Marianne Faton to get into those steps where we know she's very strong, and here she comes into 2nd place. Emily Harrop out first, looking strong. Marianne Faton in behind her. Interestingly, between them, they have won in all the races they've entered. Emily Harrop has won every single one since April 2024 in the World Cup, and Marianne Faton has won all the championship titles. So these are the women to beat in this race.
Yes, totally. They are, as we were mentioning just before, they are two of the most top athletes of the sprint, and all the titles they have together demonstrate that. And it's Emily Harrop in first with a bit of margin, but Marianne Faton with her experience, super fast transition in second, and now getting third.
Really great racing from Anna Huguet there, because those are two very impressive skiers, ski mountaineers to be keeping up behind. But nice gaps opening up there between the two leading athletes. Of course, they only have to be first and second, and then Anna Huguet of Spain will need to wait and see how she gets on in the lucky losers, if in fact she does come in third. Emily Harrop takes the win in the first of the women's heats, as we might have expected. 5 seconds faster than her time in qualification. Marianne Faton 5 seconds behind her. A little relaxed. They just needed to get across the line there, Mireia.
But still they needed to do it, and it's just impressive. Marianne Faton, she has done a really good race on the transitions and the downhill. She has managed this so well. I mean, for sure that she's very strong also on the uphill, but she has done the gap with Anna Huguet on the transitions, and also close a bit the gap with Emily and the downhill, and also close a bit the gap with Emily Harrop on the last transition and downhill. So really well managed from Marianne Faton, really well managed.
Indeed, and now just have a quick look at the times there. Yep, so Emily Harrop. Talk us through a little bit what happened here, Mireia.
So Emily Harrop, she didn't want to give a chance to anyone, and she just started strong, lead all the heat on the first place since the very beginning. But behind her, we had a beautiful battle between Anna Huguet and Marianne Faton. But Marianne Faton, we can see her experience and on this type of races. And step by step, first on the transition for the foot part, and then on the last transition and downhill, he opened gap with Anna Huguet, finishing second. So we will have to see Anna Huguet really impressive race. We will have to see if she gets on the semifinals through the lucky losers time.
Great, and here we have a second heat. There's Marta Garcia Fares and her final start for this race for Spain. Anna Mayerchik. We also saw there Mariana Jegorčíková at the far end, Deborah Kirilo de Marti, Eva Matejovicova, and Anna Mayerchik on the start line this morning. And you said earlier, well, we know that Marta is retiring. She's been on the team since 2010. That is a huge shift. That must be one of the longest SkiMo careers of everybody.
It is huge, yes, it is huge. 16 years racing at a top level, even if she had this, when she had the children, but that she stopped, it's a huge time to have the motivation up.
Absolutely. That's it, racers on course for the second heat of the women in the sprint race here in Villars. And Mariana Jegorčíková in the pink helmet nearest us. Next to her is Deb Marti-Chiarello, but ahead in the blue suit is Eva Matejovicova of Czechia.
And I think that this will be a very open heat. All athletes are very close when it comes to they can be in a similar level, even if Mariana Jegorčíková and Eva that we have now in a screen, first on the right and first on the left, they've been doing really, really great sprints this season. I think that this heat will be very open until the finish line.
Indeed. it's looking like it's actually much steeper than it looks. It's a bit slippy. You can see them slipping there. Eva Matijovicova in the blue, and that is Deb Chiarello. No, I beg your pardon, it is not. It is the American athlete Helen Desmond, who I didn't mention on the start line. Apologies, Helen. Americans having an amazing season, but it's the Czech athlete and Mariana Jegorčíková of Slovakia in the lead as they come into the foot section. Very fast transitions there from the leading two athletes. Mariana Jegorčíková, what an absolutely phenomenal athlete she is, Mireia.
Impressive. We are talking about long careers with Marta Garcia Farres, but also Mariana Jegorčíková has had a long career, and I admire her a lot because I mean we usually mention that, but she's the oldest, maybe the oldest athlete in the sprint, and she demonstrates that age is a number, and that we always say that as you get older, you get not like you lose some qualities for the sprint, and she just demonstrates that it's not the case for her.
Absolutely. Slipping quite a lot on the skins there, especially the Czech athlete. Talk to us about that.
So I think that the course track is a little bit slippery. Maybe the snow is hard because it's still quite, it's still quite early in the morning. And usually if we see some athletes sleepy, that it's more slippery than for others, it can be two things. One, the technique, or second, the skin choice. I think that in this case, I mean, all these athletes have an exquisite technique going uphill. So it's very probably the skin choice she made for this race.
Yeah, so Mariana Jegorčíková heading down here, former European and world champion and Olympian. She was an Olympian in Bormio in February. Coming across the line here, in a nice gap between her and Eva Matijovicova of Czechia. As you say, Mireia, a very nicely, evenly spaced and very equal in abilities and timings here. Sorry, I'm not speaking very well, but yes, excellent racing from, and in comes Marta Garcia Farres in fourth, Anna Meyerchik in fifth, and Helen Desmond of the United States in sixth. Almost certainly Marta Garcia's final last dance, last hurrah.
Yes, she has had. I think that she has had a super long and beautiful career. She has had podiums on the Spring World Cups. She has had podiums on World Champs, European Champs. So she has had a really beautiful and long career. Maybe we see her tomorrow on the mixed relay. Usually she does kind of the Team B of Spain, but let's see. I'm not sure that she will be tomorrow. Let's hope that we still see her one last time.
Luisa Paller of Germany, younger sister of Tatiana. Thibaut Dessin of Switzerland. Johanna Hiemer talking of retirements. Here we are, finishing with a bang. She's had 2 podiums already this week. Iwona Januszczyk of Poland, another Olympian there. And Louise Trinquat of France. And there we have Ueda Ayaka of Japan. 2 Japanese in the heats. That's fantastic to see. There we are up there. Johanna Hiemer has, we said she's retiring, but she's just had a really fantastic finish to her career because she's had 2 podiums this week, 3rd in the individual and the vertical, and she and Paul Verbniak won their very first mixed relay after all these years of being so close. They won a few weeks ago in Val Martello.
She's trying to explain that only coaches are allowed in. work inside the ISMF installation, and I could stay here also inside.
And off they go. It is the third heat for the women here in the sprint race at the ISMF Sprint Finals, ISMF World Cup Sprint Finals. And it's Johanna Hiemer and Ivona Janušik right out at the front there.
Beautiful start from these two athletes. Ivona Janušik that has used us to see her also a lot in front with very strong starts and very strong sprints. And Johanna Hiemer that as you were just mentioning, she's been having a really beautiful end of the season. Really, I think that it's so beautiful as an athlete to be able to finish your career with such a high note, having the first win on the mixed relay just a week ago, 2 podiums on the last 2 days. So she's arriving on good shape to this last World Cup, to this last dance for her on the international circuit. And I really hope that she can finish all the weekend in a high note, because there's not anything more beautiful for a top athlete like her to be able to finish with a good feeling, to say so.
Absolutely, and she's completely on fire in this heat, arriving into the transition to boot pack very fast, and up she goes with the poles. Ivona Janušik very quickly behind her, trying to catch up some of that space, and we will soon see who's out next. Can't quite see, Louise Tranca was first in, but I don't think that's her first out. That looks like Thibaut Descent of Switzerland.
And Ivona Janušik doing also a very strong race, trying to not let Johanna Hiemer open the gap. And we have Johanna Hiemer just out of this almost last transition, because they still have to take skins off. And again, Ivona Janušik trying to not let Johanna Hiemer open a gap. This part is very, very steep, as we see that they are very benched towards the front, a bit slippery also. We've seen that it's a bit difficult for the athletes, and we just have Switzerland just right after Ivona Janušik.
Out first for Johanna Hiemer, giving us a masterclass in beautiful sprint technique with Ivona Janušik hot on her heels, trying to keep up that gap, and Thibaut Descent will be going as fast as she can, because she will be hoping for a lucky loser place. Johanna Hiemer of Austria in her final sprint race, or sprint start for her career, crosses the line and wins her heat. She'll be delighted with that. She's always got a big smile on anyway, and a very close finish there for the two teams in red and white, Ivona Janušik of Poland and Thibaut Descent, the youngster from Switzerland.
Tip that has tried really, because she has closed a big gap from the foot part to the end, and she was so close to Ivona Janušik here on the finish line.
Yes, she was, and I think that will put her in serious contention for a lucky loser place. Deborah Marty so far the closest likely lucky loser as they head up here. And it's interesting to see, because you said earlier Ivona Janušik always starts hard and then sometimes can't quite maintain the pace, but really great to see her keeping right up there with Johanna Hiemer, both of them of course Olympians earlier this year in Bormio, but some great racing there from both of them.
Yeah, they are. We've seen a really solid race for both of them, starting and finishing strong, and I think that both of them arrived to this end of the season quite in shape.
Right, so now we're getting down to some serious stuff here. Maria Ordóñez Cabacho, There we have number 27, Gwen Rudy of the United States, Margot Ravinel, all to play for her today. Ana Alonso Rodriguez, what a season she's had. Sarah Dreyer, not normally someone we see on the sprint start line, but delighted to see her here from Austria. And Carson Leys of the United States, 2 Americans, 2 Spaniards, an Austrian and a French athlete. And this is going to be quite punchy. Margot Ravinel, obviously at the head of the rankings for the sprint. Mireia.
Margot Ravinel, that is doing an incredible season with podiums on the sprint, podiums on the Olympic Games, podiums on long distance as Pierre Ramenta. So and Ana Alonso, that she has she had a very bad accident on autumn. We saw her come back just for the Olympics with 2 medals in the Olympics, and yeah, we have a really strong hit here.
Heat number 4 is underway here in Villars. It's the women, and it is Ana Alonso and Margot Ravinel out there at the front straight away.
Ana Alonso has done a pretty fast start. I wasn't expecting maybe this start from Ana Alonso, but yeah, she has gone for it from the very beginning, and it's Margot Ravinel now on taking the left of the diamonds, winning some meters with Maria Ordóñez just behind her, but Ana Alonso trying to not let Margot Ravinel go, trying to not allow any gap on the taking the right side of the diamonds.
Yeah, Margot Ravinel is the one to beat here. Little pause there. She came around the edge of that diamond, just allowing an extra couple of steps for Ana Alonso to come right up beside her. But also Maria Ordóñez in amazing shape there, up beside those 2.
And we see that this part is quite steep, a bit slippery now. They go in a flat part. We see that this change of pace, this change of posture, a little bit here on this more flatter part, like running just before arriving to this transition for the foot part. Margot Ravinel, super fast transition, and Alonso too, and Maria Ordóñez too. The 3 of them did a super fast transition to put the skis on the backpack and do this foot part.
Margot Ravinel of France, everything to play for her today. A chance that she will win the overall sprint title. Aged only 23. I'd like to make special mention though, Mireia, of the American athletes this season who have just gone from strength to strength in all manner of races, and especially in the women's category and in the juniors. They really are becoming an absolute force to reckon with.
We've seen a really step forward for the US team this year, and it's really, I mean, I think that it's really good to see, and we've seen also with the Olympic athletes, Cameron Smith and Anna Gibson, that they really did a very good Olympics with a 4th place on the mixed relay. So the US are getting strong, are getting more and more in the game, and we can see it now with the 2 athletes here on this heat.
Absolutely, and in the Olympics, Cameron Smith and Anna Gibson, too many Annas, also did extremely well in sprint. I think 9th and 11th they were in their respective categories. But back to the matter in hand, it is Margot Ravinel, 23-year-old from Chamonix, as she comes down here and takes the win in the 4th heat in Villars on the final sprint race of the 2026 season.
And for now, the fastest heat.
Absolutely, I was just going to say exactly that. A much faster heat. And Alonso in behind her, Maria Ordóñez. In 3rd place. Great racing from her today.
Well, let's see. Let's wait for. let's wait for the lucky loser's time. But I think that Maria has some chances to get into the semifinals.
She may well do. At the moment, I have Thibaut Dessin and Deb Marty, but let's wait and see what that brings up. I think the heats have just got faster and faster as we've gone along today, haven't they, Mireia? And I think the next one is probably going to be the fastest of them all. And here we are on the start line. From Andorra, Lea Ancion, Havet, number 4 Olympian from Germany, Tatiana Paller, Julia Murada, a very big day from the athlete from Livigno, and Caroline Ulrich on home turf here in Switzerland, Celia Peria-Pessé of France. And there on the left, another Olympian, Maria Costa Diaz. This is going to be a bit of a race, Mireia.
Totally. This is a very, very strong heat. All of them are very, very strong, and it could be perfectly a semi-final, with no doubt, even a final. So this is gonna be a hard one.
It definitely is, and I said a big day for Julia Murada. There's a high chance, a very high chance that she wins the overall title after today, and a reasonable chance that she could also win the sprint title. So a very big day for this athlete who's held many, many junior titles and has just been working so hard in the last few years to get to this stage in her senior career. That's it. This is the final heat for the women in the 2026 sprint finals here in Villars in Switzerland. And on the left there we have Maria Costa Diaz in the pink helmet. Next to her, Celia Peria-Pessé in the black. But out in front next to the Spanish athlete is Julia Murada of Italy.
A very fast start. We saw that Caroline Ulrich slipped a bit just on the start, and now she's on the last of the places of the sprint, but we'll have to wait and see the whole race. But in any case, we have Julia Murada leading. We know that she's coming here for the sprint ranking, for the overall ranking, and she needs to do a good sprint race for that. So I think that she's coming here with everything she has.
Absolutely. And in behind her on the left of the screen, in with the red and yellow sleeves, that's Tatiana Paller of Germany, who is in absolutely cracking form this season. Julia Murada has actually been on every single sprint podium in the World Cup this season. Tatiana Paller was third in the European Championships behind Julia Murada's silver place. So it is a packed and exciting sprint heat here for the women, as it's Julia Murada out first and Tatiana Paller goes into second ahead of Lea Ancion of Andorra, and Caroline Ulrich making up for that slip at the front as she goes into third place, it looks like, but Maria Costa Diaz not letting that go too quickly. Oh my gosh, Mireia!
That's very, very tight. They are all very packed. We have Julia Murada that now lost a pole just before the transition, losing like a few seconds there, but still getting out in first just before in front Tatiana Paller and Caroline Ulrich from Switzerland. But Maria Costa on the left of the screen with the pink helmet, trying to close this gap, trying to close Caroline Ulrich and Celia Peria-Pessé, and trying to be third of this heat.
Oh my gosh, and Julia Murada not having an easy time with her skin's choice. She has slipped and slipped. She has worked so hard to keep that lead. And my gosh, it's going to come down to some skiing. And we know Julia Murada is an incredible skier. And she gets out first, and she just has to hang on as Tatiana Paller comes out behind her, leaving quite a big gap there. And I think it's Lea Ancion in third, with Maria Costa Diaz and Caroline Ulrich behind them. Oh no, it's Celia Peria-Pessé in third. My word.
And Maria Costa in fourth, just behind, and Caroline Ulrich must be in fifth. What a hit!
Oh yes, it's been up and down and keeping us excited. Well, we knew this was going to be one of the ones to watch for sure. Giulia Morada and Tatiana Paller come down here and claim their place in the semi-finals, which we will see very shortly after the men have been. But it is Giulia Morada of Italy, Tatiana Paller of Germany, and the dream is still alive for Giulia Morada. Celia Peria-Pessé goes into third. That was a very fast heat.
Exactly, it was very, very fast. We saw an amazing heat. It was the fastest by far. So I think that Celia Peria-Pessé and Maria Costa right now are the lucky losers with best time. I think we will need to wait and see and let the heats finish. But what a race from all these women.
Absolutely incredible racing there. Wow, what a start. We're in Villars. It's the end of a really long and intense SkiMo season. This is the last of the international, the ISMF World Cup races in the sprint. Tomorrow sees the mixed relay. The season isn't quite over. The Patrouille des Glaciers coming up in about just over a week's time, 10 days time. But for the short disciplines, this is it, as Giulia Morada hangs on despite some serious slipping. I bet she used up quite a lot of energy there, keeping hold of those slippy skins, Mireia.
Yeah, not only Giulia Morada, all of them. We saw Maria Costa just before arriving to the flat part on the last transition, slipping there a bit, and Caroline Ulrich and Celia Peria-Pessé also taking the chance to try to pass her. So it has been a very exciting hit, and the track, we see that the track is technical. All the athletes are slipping a bit, so this is something to have in mind and that can help or not help on the final times.
Absolutely. Well, the Swiss, they love their ski mountaineering, and there was a couple of Valais flags. I didn't see the faces on there, but nice to see actually quite a good crowd out here in Villars. The weather's gorgeous, and as I say, the Switzerland, one of the leading countries, or certainly the most, one of the sort of original stalwarts, strongholds of ski mountaineering, and good to see such support out here for them. We are moving on to the men's races. We saw them starting to warm up there. There we are, the Swiss flags a go-go. And talking of the men and Switzerland, another big retirement announcement. Arno Lieta, former world champion and three-time overall sprint winner, has announced his retirement. We'll come to him shortly. But here on our screen, Marc Radua, Ivern of Spain, Thibaut Anselmet, all to play for him today in the sprint rankings. Of France, Pablo Giner Dalmasso, also of France. Both of those French athletes at the Olympics. Oriol Cardona-Coll, Spain's first Winter Olympic champion since 1972. Paul Verbniak having a great season as well, being twice on the podium this week and in the overall rankings for the vertical and the individual, and their Tokutaro Shima of Japan. What a lineup, Mireia.
What a lineup from the very first hit. Oriol, Thibaut, Pablo Giner, the three on the Olympics. Paul, also on the Olympics. Marc Radua doing an incredible season, and Shima Tokutaro. So starting the men's hit with a very strong field.
Absolutely. And Thibaut Anselmet didn't won the overall sprint ranking 2 years ago, lost it to Oriol Cardona-Coll last year, but we'll be hoping to hang on to it. He is sitting just ahead of Oriol, but it is absolutely all to play for. The youngster Jon Kissler in the mix there for the overall rankings, but not in this particular heat. We will see him shortly. And there is the train that takes you up from the resort of Villars up to here to the Col de Bretagne, where we are right now, starting at an altitude of 1,805 meters. Quite punchy, quite a high altitude race here for the finals. And the men are underway. The men's heats, the very final sprint racing of the season. And it's Oriol Cardona-Coll there in the pink helmet, absolutely battering out there. Thibaut Anselme in the yellow helmet, and up beside them is the Japanese athlete Shima Tokutaro. What a fast start there, Mireia, from Oriol and Thibaut.
Very, very fast start. They know that this is a very strong heat, that they cannot leave anything on the tank if they want to pass to the semifinals. And for both of them, it's important because they are playing for the sprint title, for the overall title. So it's quite important for both of them to be able to be on the semifinals. So it's not a moment to leave anything on the tank.
Absolutely. And we know that both of them do very, very well in this section, in the boot pack. Off they go. Oriol Cardona-Coll, known for making his move there, but as we've said in the past, that certainly this season, Thibaut Anselme has worked really hard on not having to work too hard, relatively speaking, in the second part of the race. He's right up there at the front.
And Pablo Ginet doing also a very strong race, closing the gap here with them. We saw Oriol and Thibaut opening a bit of a gap with the rest of the group, but Pablo has been able to close it. He's just right behind Thibaut, and also fighting for these two spots that give direct access to the semifinals.
Oriol Cardona-Coll very fast out there. Thibaut Anselme right on his heels. Pablo Giner right behind him. And the first three created quite a gap there now between the final three in this heat. And as they come down here, it is going to be Oriol Cardona-Coll ahead of Thibaut Anselme and his compatriot Pablo Giner. A hard-won battle, but making it look easy peasy. Oriol Cardona-Coll, Thibaut Anselme, Pablo Giner, Dalmasso.
And really great race from Pablo Ginet. I think that we were expecting this race from Oriol and Thibaut because they are such strong athletes, and especially and also on the sprint discipline. But Pablo that really handled really well and arrived really close to Thibaut Anselme. So I think that Pablo knows that on a hit like that, having Oriol and Thibaut, his best chance was to do the best race to try to get into the lucky loser's time if Oriol or Thibaut didn't had any problem.
Absolutely. A little bit of frustration there from the Japanese athlete at the end. Perhaps thought he might have done better, but that was a tough old heat to be in. Also excellent racing from Paul Verbniak coming in fourth. He was at the Olympics, but not necessarily his speciality nor his favorite, the sprint race, but really excellent racing from the Austrian there, who just gets stronger and stronger every season. We will soon have to have a quick look at the lucky losers, but on to heat number 2. There we have from Andorra, Oriol Olm Rupert. Next to him, Luca Tomazzoni, who is, quite frankly, on the up and up. He's had 3 sprint finals this season. He's my top pick to look out for next season for sure. Jon Kissler, talking of top picks, the young Swiss athlete. Excellent season, silver medalist in the mixed relay at the Olympics. That was Finn Hirsch of Germany, also an Olympian, and Inigo Martinez de Albornoz Marquez of Spain. And beside them, our first American, in fact, our only American to make it through to the heats. That is Arthur Whitehead, which I always get confused because my dad is Arthur Muirhead. So there we go. One day I'm going to announce my dad on the start of a sprint. race. But there we go. This is the second heat for the men. Good couple of youngsters in here, Mireia and this one. It's nice to see the youngsters doing so well.
Totally. We have John Kisler that it's, we can say right now that he's also one of the best sprint athletes now in ski mountaineering, even if he's very young, and also, as you were mentioning, Luca Tomassoni. I mean, it's quite a youth hit, but and some athletes to follow into the future, that's for sure.
And away they go. It's the second heat for the men here in Villars, and it's everybody out at the front there. Almost who is that out in front there in the blue? Well, I can tell you that it is, yes, Jon Kisler, and coming racing through there, Inigo Martinez. But beside Jon Kisler is the Andorran Oriol Orm Rupert, and in behind them, Finn Hirsch.
Very strong start from Oriol Olm on the left of our screens. On the right, Jon Kisler, Finn Hirsch, just and Arthur. Now I'm gonna say his surname not on the correct way, Whitehead. But in any case, Oriol Olm slipping a bit, but very strong sprint from him. Now we go from a steep section to a flat section. We can see the change of pace for all of them just before arriving to this footpath transition.
I tell you, you need to be out of bed quite quickly. I was going to say to get ahead of Jon Kisler in transition, but he had a little fumble with his pole there, but he is pulling ahead of Oriol Olm Rupert. And in behind him, coming up on the inside here, Inigo Martinez in the white helmet, Finn Hirsch with the red and yellow sleeves, and Luca Tomassoni, everybody together. Oh my gosh, this is a really exciting one. As Jon Kisler out ahead of Oriol Olm.
Ahead of Oriol Olm, but as you were saying, very tight. We see Luca Tomassoni from the inside winning a bit the place, but Inigo Martinez de Albornoz just there, also again winning the place there, the second place. So the second place will be quite tight, and let's see if Jon Kisler doesn't do any mistake here on the transition to take off skins.
Little fumble with his pole, but he's out ahead of Inigo Martinez. Luca Tomassoni, he came right from the back there. He was almost, he was like fourth or fifth or sixth, I mean, at the very start, but has come right back in. Maybe he's one of these ones we need to watch, like Thibaut Anselme used to be before he improved his explosivity. But it's absolutely really exciting here in the second heat in the men's race. It is Jon Kisler ahead of Oriol Olm, Luca Tomassoni, I beg your pardon, ahead of Inigo Martinez and Luca Tomassoni. Jon Kisler of Switzerland, Inigo Martinez of Spain, Luca Tomassoni of Italy, Oriol Olm of Andorra, Finn Hirsch of Germany. Very, very close together, within 3.5 seconds, the top 5 men. Wow, we don't normally see that at this stage in a race, do we?
It was a very, very tight race for all of them. Even if Jon Kisler tried to lead it from the very beginning and has managed it, as we see on the final times, he didn't open a big gap with all others. On the other way, like everyone was like, it was a very, very tight race, and until the very end, it was not sure who was gonna be first and second.
Excellent racing there from the Andorran athlete Oriol Olm. Perhaps just a little bit more experience needed for him, but really great to see him so far up and so close with some of these really experienced sprinters. So Jan Kissler takes that ahead of Inigo Martinez. Actually, a much slower heat than the first one, interestingly. But we will have to wait
5
and see.
seconds or...
Ferrer Martinez of Spain, another Olympian on our screens there. Jules Rebaud of France. Anselme the younger, Jérémy. Nicolo Canclini, good to see him back on the sprint podium last weekend. In Puy-Saint-Vincent, Eric Canovi, ooh, the archer, interesting, of Italy. And their number 27, Maj Pritersnik of Slovenia. Now this is an interesting heat, Mireia. One Olympian, one Nicolo Canclini with masses of experience and lots of experience perhaps, but perhaps not so many high up results from the rest of the field. So it should be interesting to see how this one goes.
In this one we have very young talent, as you say, maybe less experience than other heats, but very young talent to see how they do and the potential they have.
And away they go. Heat number 3 for the men is underway here in Villars at Col de Bretagne. And it's a fast start. There is Ott Ferrer in the pink helmet, but it is Nicolo Canclini up there, I believe. Is it Nicolo?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. How inconvenient that they're both wearing the same helmet as well, but yes. And it is Nicolo Canclini into a clear start there. Oh no, how unfortunate for Ott Ferrer. His ski has come off, knocked against that diamond, I think. In fact, it's actually Eric Canovi out there in the front.
And Nicolo Canclini just in second. Jérémy Anselme in third, I think that he was.
Yes, it is, and also struggling. It seems to just be getting slippier and slippier with the sun and all the amount of skins that have been over it now, Mireia.
It seems so. We see the athletes sleeping a lot on the first on different parts of the sprint. So I think that with the sun, the conditions are changing and are being more difficult on this side. Like the track is getting more slippery. And what a pity for Ott Ferrer that, as we saw, he lost one ski on the diamonds while he was fighting for the lead of this sprint race. But I mean, this is a sprint race, right?
You said it. The commentator's favorite expression in the sprint. Anything can happen. As we see Jérémy Anselme going into first place, Eric Canovi of Italy behind him, his compatriot Nicolo Canclini in third place. As I say, Nicolo Canclini back on the podium last week in Puy-Saint-Vincent, which is great. We haven't seen him up there for a while. Fantastic to see that. As Jérémy Anselme keeping up the family name as he takes off in the lead there. Quite a convincing lead before ahead of the two Italians. Taking a quick glance up the hill to make absolutely sure that it is the case, because as I always say, if there's anybody you do not want skiing down behind you, it's Italians, because they are fast and furious. Jérémy Anselme takes the win in this third heat for the men. behind him, Niccolo Canclini, I beg your pardon. And Eric Canovi, Jules Ribaud, almost neck and neck. And in behind them will come Inigo Martinez, I beg your pardon, Ott Ferrer and Mai Prajicnik. Disappointment there from the Spanish Olympian, but as you say, anything can happen in this sprint race. Great racing there from Jeremy Anselme, Mireia.
Very well managed. I was thinking just the same, that he started a bit from the back, to say so, and he has managed really well the effort, moving forward places on each section of the sprint. So it's also, I think that it's beautiful to see Jeremy Anselme doing these steps forward also and evolving on this discipline.
Okay, the person on that flag is the person on your screen now, Matteo Favre from Sion, a very popular athlete from the neighbouring canton of Valais. A little bit of a rivalry between Vaud, where Villars is situated, and Valais, which is next door. But there's Matteo Favre. And next to him, Loïc Dubois of Switzerland as well. Number 6, Biel Pujol Paramon, having some really great skiing. And Arnaud Lieta taking to the sprint race for the final time before he retires. Robin Bussard from Fribourg and Max Pamet Javila Dordet of Andorra. So Mireia, Arnaud Lieta lining up, well, we hope not for the very last time, but certainly for his last sprint race of his career. What an extraordinary career he's had.
Indeed, he has been one of the reference for the sprint race for so many years. He's still quite young, I would say, but he has been a reference from a very young age on this discipline. He has also carved the path for the Swiss young athletes that we see now. John Kisler, the Bussard brothers. And I think that it's also very beautiful to be able to finish kind of at home here in Villars.
Indeed, Villars is where he won his very first his world championship title in 2019 as well. So a beautiful circle. And they're off heat number 4 for the men, and it is number 6, Biel Pujol. But look at Arnaud Lieta go. This is his territory. It is his race to win, and he will not be letting this last opportunity go to waste. Look at that to the right, ahead of his compatriot Robin Bussard.
A beautiful start from Arnaud Lieta, also from Biel Pujol Paramon. Both of them starting strong, but the group is quite tight still at this point of the race, with Robin Bussard really close to them, Max and Matteo Favre. So really tight hit. I don't know what happened with, I think that is Loïc Dubois. We will see if he's just behind and anything has happened.
Biel Pujol skis down first, Arnaud Lieta out next as they head up here. And I will say it again because I've been saying it for a very long time, his long legs give him a big advantage here. But it is Biel Pujol ahead of Arnaud Lieta, Robin Bussard in third with Matteo Favre behind him. No, it is not. I beg your pardon. It is Loïc Dubois. It's Matteo Favre right at the back there with the grey helmet. Biel Pujol heading up here ahead of Arnaud Lieta. Oh, how magnificent. The chants of the Swiss crowd roaring for Arnaud Lieto. Arnaud Lieta, as he keeps his second place here behind Biel Pujol. And you can see how much he is loved and admired and respected by not just his teammates, but also the fans. As Mireia said, a phenomenal benchmark over the years for how the sprint has evolved as a race, as a discipline, and for its athletes. So great to see him here coming in second. Biel Pujol, though, great racing from the young Spaniard. He had a knee brace on at the beginning of this season. All seems to be well, and as he comes across and takes the win here in Villars in heat number 4. Arnaud Lieta of Switzerland in behind him. Third place for Robin Bussard. Loïc Dubois, Max Pamet-Javilla and Matteo Favre. I'm not sure quite what happened to him there. Was that you were saying, Mireia, we didn't see what happened, but he disappeared for a bit. But great racing from everybody in heat number 4.
It was a beautiful race, beautiful heat, as you were saying, with this emotional side of having Arnaud Lieta racing here for the last time. Biel Pujol program, and here we see the problem he had. He lost a ski, Matteo Fabre, and it's a pity. It happened the same as Aude Ferré on the previous heat. It's a pity, but as we say, these are the sprints, and this can happen. And Biel Pujol winning his heat, incredible race from this young Spanish athlete.
There's Robin Bussard. Oh, is this getting ready for the next start? Here we go. In which case, it will not be Robin again, obviously. It will be his twin, Thomas. Number 16, Basile Ducouret of France. On our screens there. Number 21, Rocco Baldini. Gael Alvarez del Val of Spain. Arnaud Gasser of Verbier in Switzerland, just along the road. Andy Meyer of Austria. And there is the second of the Bussard twins, this time Thomas, who is having a fantastic season. Thomas Bussard in the running for top 3 in the overall, of course, which we know already is won by Rémi Bonnet. He cannot be overtaken, but Paul Verbniak and Thomas Bussard absolutely fighting it out, very close in the rankings for second and third overall this year.
On se prépare, on lisse après cette manche, hein?
Some excellent instructions there from the referees, course builders, as we wait for the final heat of the men. And the final heat of the men, in fact, is underway. That is it. We're off and racing in this beautiful spring sunshine here in Villars in Switzerland, as it is the Frenchman. I think it's Basile Ducouret up there alongside Gael Alvarez. Mireia.
Yes, very strong start from Gael. A bit unexpected that he would be leading right from the beginning this heat. He's a young and very strong athlete from Spain, and yeah, really good surprise to see him here leading the heat side by side with Basile Ducoré.
And it's first out of transition for Basile Ducoré. Number 30, that is Gael Alvarez of Spain, we were just talking about. And third place in the green and black uniform is Andy Meyer of Austria, Arno Gasser of Verbier in Switzerland. As I say, very, very nearby, an hour away from where we are racing today. In number 25 in their fourth. Oh, and it's a pole down. How unfortunate for Basile Ducoré, allowing Gael Alvarez to take a very strong lead here.
Very unfortunate, and for Basile Ducoré, because he has lost 3 positions now in fourth, with Gael, Andreas Meyer, Arno Gasser just in front of him, and this is a very tight heat.
Absolutely, and it is Alvarez and Gasser of Spain and Switzerland, respectively, I believe, out there at the front. It is Gael Alvarez. Or is that Thomas Bussard? I'm being particularly unhelpful. We will just have to wait and see. I can tell you it's Andreas Meyer in third position there, though. It is indeed. Arno Gasser takes the win. Gosh, ahead of Gael Alvarez and Andreas Meyer. Well, Mireia, these are not names we normally see up there at the front of a heat. How exciting.
How exciting, and we can see the happiness of Gael, because I think it's the very first time he gets into the semifinals, and what a great day to do it. Last race of the season.
And an unfortunate finish there from Thomas Bussard. He will be not so happy with that. We'll need to wait and see what that does to his standings in the overall titles, the overall rankings. Sorry, I will put my brain back into gear. I'm just so excited, and I'm so happy to see so many people out on the slopes, Mireia. So great to see that when you know, we saw, obviously, at the Olympics this year, an enormous crowd, 4,000 people roaring and cheering for ski mountaineering, and just absolutely loving it. But it's so nice as well when we get to the World Cups in the countries where this really means something to people, and lots of people out there in the gorgeous spring sunshine cheering on the athletes.
Switzerland has a lot of tradition of ski mountaineering, and they are really great organizing races, but also the crowd is is always there. So it's always a pleasure, I think, for the athletes to race in Switzerland. It's a beautiful place, usually good conditions, well organized, and a good crowd. So what else to ask for?
Exactly. And you were correct. Your prediction came true. Célia Perea-Pessé and Maria Costa-Diez in that very fast final heat for the women get the lucky loser places. And there we have our semi-finals, which will we be seeing in about 5 minutes. No, about 3 minutes, in fact. Yes, exciting times coming up, because it is all to play for. And here we see Pablo Giner and Luca Tomazzoni, which is what I had scribbled on my piece of paper, will make it through to the semi-finals. And yeah, gosh, look at this lineup, Mireia. It's going to be brilliant.
We have very strong semi-finals, as expected, with some new faces also, and we are going to have a great show, I think.
Absolutely. Just reminding ourselves, a lot to play for in both the men's and women's overall sprint rankings, and also in the women's overall rankings. Men's season title has gone to Rémi Bonnet. He won that after winning the vertical and the individual this race, and it's the first time a Swiss athlete has won the overall title in the men's category since Florent Troyer in 2010. So massive congratulations to Rémi, who takes the vertical, the individual, and the overall title. But lots to play for still here in the sprint. That's not really his bag, so we will see who is going to be up there today.
Every mistake will be very expensive. Oriol Cardona Call has overtaken Paul Verbniak. Fitness, power and control. Another win.
That is not all we are here for. This is an Olympics test event.
Committed to the evolution of ski mountaineering, now and for the future.
We're in Villars, where today we have the last sprint race of the 2026 World Cup season. Senior women and men both in action. 85 athletes on the start list, 52 women and 32 women and 53 men. Some big names taking their final bow on the international stage. Johanna Himmer, Anna Lieta, Marta Garcia Fares, Stefan Knopf of Germany yesterday. We wish them all the very best as we look at these gorgeous conditions here in Villars. The snow is a little bit slippy, but otherwise the weather is just gorgeous. I am here with Mireia Miro. Good morning, Mireia.
Good morning.
It's been an interesting start. We've had heats and for both the men and the women. And over this course, no stranger to organising an international ski mountaineering event here in Villars. It's a very similar course to last year. 70 metres of vertical, 45 metres on the diamonds, 15 metres on the boot pack, and 10 metres very steep last part on the skins, starting at an altitude of 1,805 metres. It's a punchy old bit of altitude, been a little bit lower this season. Yannick Kerr is the race director, former Swiss SkiMo member and former record holder for the Patrouille des Glaciers, which is coming up in about 10 days, not far from here at all. Stunning day here at the Col de Bretagne, just above Villars, as you can see, the final ISMF World Cup sprint. And as I said, fresh snowfall last week with a little bit of cloud overnight and some cold temperatures keeping the piste in great condition. I mean, Villars has a pretty strong reputation for hosting ski mountaineering events. We've had a World Championships here, the Youth Olympic Games in 2020. And Mireia, some great racing from the women first of all this morning.
Really great racing. We had some very exciting heats and many of the favorites went through the semifinals as Julia Murada, Emily Harrop, Marianne Faton, and Margot Ravinel also, Margot Ravinel. But we have some very, very strong athletes ready for the semifinals.
Absolutely. And similarly in the men's category, some really exciting racing.
We have really exciting hits in the men's side. We have some new faces on the semifinals, like Gael Alvarez, but others as Oriol Cardona or Thibaut Selmé, really experienced sprint athletes, very strong, and we'll have amazing, I'm sure we'll have amazing semifinals.
So the sprint race for the uninitiated, everybody starts with a qualification round, and the top 30 qualify and go through to 5 heats. 6 athletes in each heat. They go up on their skins through 2 sets of diamonds. They then put their skis on their packs and go up on foot. And then there's another little section on skins before they ski down, and it is the first 2 from each heat plus 2 lucky losers go through to the semi-finals. Same for the finals, and it is first to cross the line who wins the race. So here we are, women's semi-final number 1 in Villars. Eva Matejovicova of Czechia. Mariana Jegerčíková of Slovakia. I think you would struggle to find a greater age gap between 2 athletes. I think that was possibly the youngest and the most experienced on the circuit. Emily Harrop, unbeaten since 2024 in the World Cup sprints that she's entered. Johanna Hiemer, retiring after this weekend. Marianne Faton, European World and Olympic champion, and Célia Peria-Pessé of France, currently sitting pretty high up in the rankings, a very, very experienced athlete from France. My word, Mireia, this is a really exciting lineup.
Really, really exciting. We have very experienced athletes with lots of titles and wins between all of them, especially Emily Harrop, Mariana Jegerčíková, Marianne Faton. But all of them, we are very used to see them on sprint semifinals, sprint finals. So it's a really open semifinal for the first and two place that give direct access to the finals.
The women's semi-finals here in Villars are underway as we see a very fast start. There is Marianne Faton in the white helmet nearest us. Johanna Hiemer in the green and black. Emily Harrop just slightly behind, not where we would normally expect to see her starting in a race like this.
Totally. So it has been a very strong start from Johanna Hiemer, from Marianne Faton. Emily Harrop usually does very strong starts and try to get the lead from the very beginning, but not in this case, not today in this semi-final. It will be a very tight and fight because just behind them we have Eva and Mariana and Célia Peria-Pessé that with a bit of a slower start, but she's closing the gap and she will also fight for these places that give direct access, I have no doubt.
Johanna Hiemer leading the charge here against ahead of none other than Emily Harrop. Marianne Faton just edging ahead there of the youngster from Czechia, Eva Matejovicova. But Johanna Hiemer seems to have just grown a rocket power in her very last sprint race of her career.
She has been doing a very, very strong weekend through all the races with the individual and vertical on the previous days, and she has arrived in an amazing shape to this last weekend of the World Cup of the season, and we can see today like leading in the sprint as we have never seen before. But Emily Harrop, she has to demonstrate why she's Emily Harrop and just gets this first place for now.
Absolutely, it can be a make or break section of a sprint race, the boot pack, especially when it is not a set of stairs there. It's a sort of every person for themselves to try and get the best. And here comes Marianne Faton with, talking of rocket power, here she comes, and she is eking past Johanna Hiemer there, but not quite catching up to Emily Harrop on that last steep part, but doing her absolute best. My goodness.
Marianne Faton with a very suffering face. I mean, she's giving all she has on this last part of the sprint, knowing that it's important to get on these first 2 places that give direct access, because if not, you have to get through lucky loser time, and you never know. And Emily Harrop in first, Marianne Faton in second.
And Johanna Hiemer going forward without her poles there and losing such a lot of time in that transition. So we will have to see whether she's managed to keep out there, keep in the 3rd place, because that was extremely tight. But it is Emily Harrop in her habitual World Cup sprint spot, just there at front, in front of Marianne Faton, the 2 best sprint racers in the women's category, arguably in the world. And the last, since 2019, no one other than these 2 has won the overall sprint title, and they take 1st and 2nd. And there is Johanna Hiemer absolutely caning for the final ahead of Celia Perea-Pese. Mariana Jegorčíková of Slovakia comes in 5th. What a race!
What a race, you can say that. What a pity for Johanna Hiemer in the last transition, because she was so close to the 2nd place. She lost a bit of gold time there. And Celia Perea-Pese coming from the very back from the sprint. We can see now on here on the images that she started on the back and finishing very close to Johanna Hiemer. So really good sprint race also for Celia Perea-Pese. And what to say, I mean, Emily Harrop and Marianne Faton, they are, I mean, the best, as arguably, but the best 2 sprint, one of the best, the 2 best sprint athletes of in ski mountaineering, in 1st and 2nd, very strong. I mean, we had a really great sprint semi-final here.
We did indeed, and we are going to have to get ourselves all ready, because here we go again for number 2, Ana Alonso Rodriguez, bronze medalist at the Olympic Games. Tatiana Paller, 4th place at the Olympic Games. Giulia Murada, everything to play for the Italian athlete, for the overall title and the sprint title. Next to her, her biggest challenge in the overall sprint title, Margot Ravenel of France, Ivona Janosik of Poland, and Maria Costa-Diez. In fact, an entire lineup of Olympians, Mireia.
Very, very strong lineup with Giulia Murada and Margot Ravenel fighting for this sprint glove, but also a tight battle also for the overall title. And also Tatiana Paller, Ana Alonso, Ivona Janosik, Maria Costa, all of them are doing a really great seasons. They are all very strong, as you were saying, all Olympians. So with this, I think that we can say all of the level of this semi-final.
Second semi-final for the women here in Villars. Everything to play for, with some phenomenal athletes on the line here. And away they go. This is it. The second of the semi-finals here, and Margot Ravenel taking a very fast start. Maria Costa-Diez behind her, but Giulia Murada in the blue uniform slipping into 2nd place.
This is going to be a very tight hit again. We have very strong, all of them are very strong on the starts. Giulia Murada, Margot Ravenel, Maria Costa, Ana Alonso, Tatiana Paller, and Ivona Janosik. I mean, all of them are very strong on the start, and we see that they are all together on this first part of the sprint, and we will need to wait until the end to see how this unfolds. I mean, in every sprint race, but here especially in this one.
Exactly, and those 2 at the front, Giulia Murada in blue, in the pale blue on the left, and Margot Ravenel in the French uniform with the red helmet on the right. Those 2 tight in battle for not just today's race, but the overall sprint title of the season. Giulia Murada just inching ahead there. Oh, it's neck and neck as they go into the boot pack. But Julia Murada just inching ahead. Ana Alonso coming up fast. Tatiana Paller coming up fast behind her as well. Oh, Mireia, it's so exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting, and we see that between Julia Murada and Margot Raimel, they have kind of their own fight, but we cannot forget, as you were just mentioning, Ana Alonso and Tatiana Paller just behind them. Ana Alonso, on the previous ski part, we were seeing her trying to move in front of Margot Ravinel, slipping a bit, as we see now, and then falling a bit behind. So Tatiana Paller and Ana Alonso are two very strong athletes too. And in front it's a fight between Margot Ravinel and Julia Murada for these two first places of the semi-final.
And another pole down. This is not the first time we've had a pole incident in this racing today, and really that was not the time for Julia Murada to leave a pole outside the transition zone as Margot Ravinel takes off ahead of her, but she stays in second. Ana Alonso in third and Tatiana Paller close behind. Wow.
What a save from Julia Murada here when she lost the ball. I was thinking, wow, this is looking very difficult for her now because we had Tatiana Paller and Ana Alonso in the transition area too, but she managed really well this transition, doing it very fast, calm, with calm nerves, and managed to get outside the transition zone in second place.
I'm not actually sure I've seen so many fumbles with poles in a really, really long time. But here we are, fumble-free. Margot Ravinel of France takes the win as Julia Murada just holds on to that second place ahead of Ana Alonso. Tatiana Paller, a very fast win there, just a little slower than only a second slower than Emily Harrop's win in the first one. So we'll have to wait and see for these lucky loser spots.
And Ana Alonso looking a bit disappointed. I think that she was sleeping a bit on the steepest part. But she did a great race. She fought that, and we will have to see if she gets this place with the lucky losers. Her and Tatiana Paller also that really did a good time.
So Julia Murada and Margot Ravinel leading from the start here. Both of them have been on every single World Cup podium this season. Can you believe that, Mireia? What an incredible achievement.
It's very incredible because one of the most difficult things on the World Cup is it's to be consistent, and they not even managed to be consistent. They even managed to be on the podium of every single race. So this is very difficult.
Yeah, it is. And of the 6 races we've had, 5, I beg your pardon, it's been the 2 of them plus Emily Harrop on all the podiums. It's extraordinary. Sorry, Emily Harrop has won 4, and the other 2 have been on all 5 podiums. So very, very impressive indeed. Villars-sur-Olon in Vaud, in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. This is the Col de Bretagne, and there is the train that brings you up from Villars itself up to this really gorgeous part of the world where we've had World Championships, Youth Olympic Games, several World Cups. Mireia, I think you remember 2018, that train was disrupted by the wind, which meant that not everybody could get to the start, and the sprint was in fact cancelled.
Yeah, so this is something that you reminded me. I didn't even remind it, and I was still an athlete by the time. And I was like, oh, that's true, this happened.
Yeah, no such unfortunate luck today, though. Great weather, good conditions, a little bit slippy, though. Tell me, Mireia, what decisions will the athletes have made in terms of their skins choice? Because we've seen so much slipping.
I think that today is a day to go with, like to say, I call good skins, meaning that they like less slippery on steep areas, but less fast on flat areas. I think that all is about a compromise. But today, seeing how the steep parts, all athletes are struggling, I think that it's a day to choose to sacrifice a little bit more this gliding side on the flat parts, but being able to be more comfortable on the steeper parts.
Absolutely. They're a little bit like grippy rugs. They're the sort of very thick skins with lots of grip.
Yeah, we've seen many athletes struggle on this steep part. So both in men and women. So it's not one athlete. When it's one athlete, it can be their own choice. Like it can be something isolated. But when we see so many athletes struggling, then I mean it's a problem for all of them.
Some highlights here of the women. Margot Ravenel taking the win on that second heat ahead of Julia Morada, who managed to hang on to that despite a little scare with her poles at the top transition. And everybody enjoying the sunshine here in Villars, which, as I say, is in Vaud, in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. We are sort of in the southwest of Switzerland, if you like, high above Lac Léman, more commonly known in the English-speaking world as Lake Geneva, although that is not its actual name. And here we are looking at the men's semifinals, the first of the semifinals. Inigo Martinez de Albornoz Marquez of Spain. Jérémy Anselmet of France. Oriol Cardona-Coll, Olympic and world champion. Jon Kissler, Olympian from Switzerland. Anselmet, the senior. Thibaut Anselmet, currently leading the sprint rankings. And number 17, another Olympian from France, Pablo Giner d'Almasso. Great to see both Anselmet brothers on the start line here, Mireia.
I think that this is a very, at least when I think about it, for me would be very kind of emotional to say so, like to be able to be on the same start line on a sprint semifinal of a World Cup with a brother or sister or whatever. I think that it's very emotional. So it's a very, yeah. I mean, I cannot avoid to feel emotional about that.
Villars-sur-Olon, it is the men's first semi-final, and they're away. There is Jon Kissler in the red helmet ahead of Thibaut Anselmet of France in the yellow helmet. His compatriot Pablo Giner in white as they head off up the hill. Very fast start there from the young Jon Kissler. Jon Kissler, Thibaut Anselmet taking the lead. Oriol Cardona-Coll in behind Jon Kissler. Pablo Giner, the fourth of the four Olympians out at the front there.
Very strong start from Jon Kissler, trying to give his best fight here. But Oriol Cardona and Thibaut Anselmet just behind him. Pablo Giner and Inigo Martinez de Albornoz, they are all very close. It's going to be a very tight hit, as we are seeing almost all together here on the footpath. But it's Jon Kissler the fastest to put the skis on the backpack and opening up some gap here on the footpath.
And Inigo Martinez, what a great transition from him. He just came shooting through that transition. Gone into second or third, I think third place there, yes, behind Oriol Cardona-Coll and ahead of the three French athletes. Jon Kissler making this look like child's play as they head up here. It's not many people who can keep ahead of Oriol Cardona-Coll in the boot pack, but he is doing so, and he is up into this last transition first, ahead of the two Spaniards. Thibaut Anselmet, though, coming back very fast. Jon Kissler's transitions really are a thing of absolute beauty and precision, aren't they, Mireia?
He has done really fast and beautiful transitions. We've seen, wow! And it's Oriol Cardona-Coll that almost falls, and Thibaut Anselmet taking the second place.
All to play for. I think they've had some overtaking incidents already on the slopes this season, but Oriol Cardona-Coll nearly taking a tumble, letting Thibaut Anselme come past him. He goes into third. Jan Kistler from Switzerland takes the win on home snow in this first of the men's semi-finals. And Thibaut Anselme just ahead of Oriol Cardona-Coll, Inigo Martinez de Albornoz in fourth, Pablo Giner in fifth.
And Oriol Cardona-Coll that has diminished the damage here, because I was seeing already him falling and he saved it. I don't know how he did it, but he saved it and got into third with quite close to the second. So still some chances to pass to the finals through the lucky losers time. And really nice and beautiful and well-managed race from Jan Kistler. Very clean, fast transitions for him. And behind him, we have seen a very tight and strong battle between Oriol Cardona, Inigo Martinez, Thibaut Anselme, and Pablo Giner.
0.4 of a second between Oriol Cardona-Coll and Thibaut Anselme, or the other way around. First of the men's semis is out of the way. It's not the greatest expression to use for it having finished already, but we are one semi-final away from getting into the final stages. The Valley hat, bucket hat on the left there, the Valley flag. The Matteo Favre fans are out in force. Sadly, Matteo Favre not through to the semis, but his fans still here in force. Gael Alvarez del Val of Spain lines up next to the great Arno Lieta of Switzerland, hoping to make this an absolute finale to remember. Biel Pujol Paramon, great racing from him earlier in the heats. Arnaud Gasser of Verbier, great to see him back in a semi-final. Next to him, Niccolò Canclini of Italy, and Luca Tomazzoni, also from Italy. Now, this is a really interesting one. A lot of experience, and a few that have been, near the top and perhaps haven't had some great seasons recently, such as Niccolò Canclini, Arnaud Gasser, but back up here at a semi-final, and then some youngsters tucked in there as well.
We have a we have a lot of variety in this semi-final with some athletes with more experience, Niccolò Canclini, Arnaud Gasser, Arno Lieta, some youngsters as Biel, Gael, and Luca Tomazzoni. So it's a combination between new faces, veteran athletes that have gone through different kind of seasons, some better, some not as good, and we have a very special semi-final.
Off they go. That is the second of the semi-finals for the men here in Villars, as the two Swiss athletes, no, it's a Spaniard out at the front there. My gosh, look at that fast start from Biel Pujol. There is Luca Tomazzoni in the blue with the sort of yellow and black helmet. Far left, Arno Lieta, Niccolò Canclini in the white helmet, and it is a fast start here.
Biel Pujol Paramon starting super fast. We've seen do the same strategy on the previous heat, and here we have also Arnaud Lieta holding Biel Pujol and the two Italians. They don't want to let any gap from Biel Pujol.
Luca Tomazzoni, who's been on three podiums three sprint finals this season, having had only his first in Boitaul. He is absolutely on fire. He comes into transition behind Arno Lieta, who won his World Championship title here at the very tender age of 21 in his first under-23 year back in 2019, as I say, at the World Championships, and he has also won 3 overall sprint titles, and he is currently leading ahead of Luca Tomazoni and Biel Pujol. Luca Tomazoni, I said it earlier, but he is my top pick for the one to watch next year, Mireia, and he is putting in a fantastic effort here against the very experienced Arno Lieta.
Yes, Arno Lieta, that seemed that he was taking the lead, more kind of the lead on the first part of the sprint, but Luca Tomazoni finishing stronger, a bit more fast on the transitions, and exiting first from the last transition, just in front of Arno Lieta.
And Biel Pujol hanging on to that 3rd place. Luca Tomazoni with Arno Lieta hot on his heels, but they only need to be in the top 2 to get through to the final. So he just needs to stay there. Oh, perhaps Arno Lieta not allowing that to go past. Yes, he is. He's there in 2nd. And it is Luca Tomazoni of Italy who takes the win. Arno Lieta of Italy, of Switzerland, Biel Pujol Paramon of Spain, Nicolo Canclini of Italy, Arno Gasser of Switzerland, and it will be Alvarez del Val, I beg your pardon, Gael Alvarez del Val coming in 6th. Wow, what a race for Luca Tomazoni. He really is on fire this season.
What a race, super well managed, starting just in the second line, to say so, on the first part of the sprint, and doing a second part, like recovering these places on the second part, managing to exit first on the last transition. Super well managed race, also besides Luca Tomazoni, for Arno Lieta and Biel Pujol, Paramon, that he has done a really good hit before the semi-final. And now he was also fighting until the very end for these 2 spots.
We just saw there Nicolo Canclini looking a little bit disappointed. Perhaps he would have hoped to be back in a final. But that was a pretty experienced and powerful set of competitors he was up against there. Arno Lieta taking that boot pack as we expect him to. Nice and strong, but Luca Tomazoni of Italy, absolutely on fire this season. So, all that remains today here in Villars at the ISMF 2026 Sprint Finals is the 2 finals, in fact. The women coming up very shortly, followed by the men. And let's not forget, it is not just today's race that is at stake. It is the sprint overall title, very close, especially in the women's race. And it could be that the Emily Harrop and Marianne Faton duopoly of the last few years since 2019 could be broken by Margot Ravenel or Giulia Murada. We have to wait and see. But and then in the men's category, Thibaut Anselme currently leading the rankings, Aurel Cardona-Coll and Jon Kistler, though not necessarily without the opportunity to take the title. However, it is Thibaut Anselme's title to lose, to take back from 2 years ago. Mireia, some great racing.
Super great racing, both in men and women. We've seen a lot of things happening in the semi-final, as for example, the almost fall from Oriol Cardona on the downhill, still managing to get third in his semi-final. We'll have to see if he goes to the finals through the lucky loser time. But as you were mentioning, both in men and women category, we have in the women Emily Harrop, Julia Murada, and Margot Ravinel are the three of them in the final. The three of them are fighting for this sprint overall title. So the three of them are in the final, and everything will be to decide in the women's side for the sprint and the overall, and on the men's side for the sprint title.
You are absolutely right. And I believe, if I am not much mistaken, that Oriol Cardona Coll and Inigo Martinez will get through to the lucky loser spot. I believe that is my uninformed or unofficial opinion. But as you say, we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure we're going to get those coming up quite soon. Spanish fans out in force there, and here we go. Confirmation that Ana Alonso Rodriguez and Tatiana Paller will make it through to the final. A lineup of Olympians and absolutely everything to play for in that sprint title in the women's race. And in the men, it is indeed Oriol Cardona Coll and Inigo Martinez del Bornos Marquez from the first semi-final that go through. Jon Kissler, Luca Tomazoni, Thibaut Anselmet, Arno Lieta, Oriol Cardona Coll and Inigo Martinez del Bornos Marquez. A lot of exciting racing to come, lots depending on what's happening. Mireia, it's been a bit of a season, and we talked about it earlier, but we started in Solitude in December. We have been in France, in Italy, in Azerbaijan, at the Olympics. We've been all over the place, and it's been super intense. We've had a long-distance World Cup at the Piramenta. We've still got the PDG to come. I mean, what a season for ski mountaineering.
Very long season, especially for the athletes. We have had many things happening, as you were mentioning, the World Cup, European champs, the Olympic Games, the long distance.
I'm just going to interrupt you just for a second, because I'm going to introduce this lineup. Ana Alonso Rodriguez of Spain, Julia Murada of Italy, all to play for. And here is Emily Harrop of France, on the cusp of perhaps a 5th overall sprint win. Margot Ravinel, perhaps on the cusp of her first. Marianne Faton, European World and Olympic champion. Tatiana Paller, 4th at the Olympics from Germany. This is the creme de la creme of the women's sprinting world, Mireia. What a cracking lineup, and what an exciting race we have ahead of us. Not just, as we say, for the race, but for the overall title.
Super exciting, super exciting. We have the best athletes we can have on this final. They are all arriving in an amazing shape to this end of the season, which with such a long season, sometimes we don't see that. But
they're off. That's it. The women's final is underway here in Villars in Switzerland, and it is very, very exciting as we see these 6 women, the best of the best, head up here. It is Margot Ravinel ahead there on the right-hand side. I think beside her, Emily Harrop, in behind her, Julia Murada in the pale blue shirt, Marianne Faton, then Tatiana Paller, and behind them, Ana Alonso Rodriguez. But Emily Harrop going into the lead.
Very strong start from both Emily Harrop, Margot Ravinel, and Julia Murada just behind, opening a little bit of a gap with the rest of the women of this final. I mean, we said before that these 3 women are like fighting against them for the sprint title and the overall title. So the 3 of them just start super strong, super fast.
Emily Harrop having a couple of slips there, as letting just every time she does that, she just gives away a couple of inches to the 2 behind her, who are neck and neck. And these 3 have dominated the sprint season this year, absolutely, within the World Cup rankings and on every single podium. Margot and Julia on every single podium, Emily on all but one, as they head up into this boot pack. It's so exciting.
Julia Murada and Margot Ravinel that are not letting Emily Harrop open a gap. They are just there. I mean, any little mistake from Emily Harrop, Margot Ravinel and Julia Murada are just there.
Absolutely. Julia only has to be 4th to win the Crystal Globe. Margot only has to be 6th to win. We are going to see Emily Harrop not having an easy time with their skins, and there we see some slips from all 3 of them. A little bit of a gap there now between Margot and Julia, but Emily Harrop on track to win once again, unbeaten. Perhaps we can almost maybe say, I don't want to do commentator's curse, every single World Cup race she has entered since April 2024, as she takes off down here in the final. Margot Ravenel behind her, and they head down to this crowd waiting for these results. Emily Harrop and Margot Ravenel of France. And they come down into this final turn. It's going to be Emily Harrop of France winning her 16th consecutive World Cup sprint race, unbeaten in every race she's entered since April 2024. 2 full seasons of winning every single World Cup sprint she's entered. Margot Ravenel comes in 2nd and takes the overall sprint title to make her the only person to have done that, apart from Marianne Faton and Emily Harrop, since 2019. Julia Murada in 3rd place. And the big excitement for her is that with that, she pretty much guarantees an overall win. The first Italian woman to do so since Roberto Pedrazzini in 2010. There's a lot to talk about and celebrate in those top 3 places, Mireia.
Yes, there's a lot happening, but also super great race from Tatiana Paller and Alonso Marianne Faton, giving a beautiful fight and a beautiful race, and super happy for Emily Harrop, like dominating this discipline with such grace and making things look easy when they are not at all. Margot Ravenel, a young talent already, like with her first big title, and Julia Murada. I mean, Julia Murada has been here for so long, competing since the youth categories. It's also a very beautiful way to a very beautiful milestone in her career.
Absolutely is. Emily Harrop looked more under pressure from those 2 than I have seen her in a long time, but she managed to hold on and keep this incredible run of unbeaten races. Really, really extraordinary. The Queen of SkiMo in terms of wins, it really is an exceptional achievement. So the women are done. That is it. Emily Harrop takes the win for the race. Margot Ravenel, 2nd, takes the sprint title for the season. These are unofficial results, just according to my own calculations. Julia Murada comes in 3rd and takes the overall women's ski mountaineering Crystal Globe for the season. Marianne Faton in 4th, Ana Alonso Rodriguez in 5th, Tatiana Paller in 6th. What an extraordinary top 3 those 3 have been all season. Massive congratulations to them. Not long now until Villars sees the men's final. And we'll be waiting to see that. But first of all, let us celebrate these magnificent women and their incredible achievements. Julia Murada, what a season. She was a little disappointed to not have done better at the Olympics, but wow, what a World Cup season this young woman has had. She must be so thrilled. She's won so many junior titles, and now here she is right at the very top of the seniors. Margot Ravenel, whose breakthrough season really was last season and the season before. She has sort of came through in 2 amazing years and is here 2nd place today and 1st overall in the sprint rankings. Emily Harrop, just an incredible, incredible athlete. Wins today, 16th undisputed title, undisputed win in the World Cup sprints in a row. Well, Villars has treated us to some phenomenal racing. I'm hoping that any minute now we will hear from Margot, beg your pardon, from Emily, so we can hear how she feels at the end of this season. But the first time in a long time, in a few years, that she has not won either the sprint or the overall.
Can you just stay for
Mireia.
Yes, I think that this demonstrates that we have a lot of talent in ski mountaineering, and I'm really happy also for Margot Ravenel and Giulia Murada, because these are such an important milestones on an athlete's career, and I think that it's really good for the sport that they have been able to achieve this.
Emily Harrop, another great victory in this last sprint race of the season. A very long season with the Olympic Winter Games in between. The smile on your face as usual. The happiness to be here with the best in the final of the sprint in this the last season.
Oh yeah, definitely. We know the crowd, we know the faces, and the girls are super strong. It's just such an honour to be a part of this game and to be a part of this strong field. I mean, of course, you know, it's been a long season, so I'm really proud to have been able to push my best until the very last race. This is going to be my last race this year, so yeah, it's really cool to finish on a high. And you know, what can I say? I'm so happy for Margot, I'm so happy for Giulia. They both deserve, you know, so much in the overalls and everything, and yeah, I'm really happy how it turned out.
The fight between you and Giulia, as the one in Tromsø some years ago for the overall globes, the first one in Tromsø went to you, and this time it's time for Giulia. So it's a great fight also between you two.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I couldn't be happier for Giulia. Really, she deserves it so much. I mean, she's been so strong all season, and you know, she's just showed her mental strength again today, how she was able to push. Even, you know, with the stakes, I mean, I think she had it in the bag already, but yeah, she's a great athlete, great person, she deserves it.
But because also you are special.
I don't know.
I tell you, thank you very much for everything, and to be so kind for all the interviews and so smiling every time. So thanks, Emily.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Absolutely right. Christine Cavigny, the course commentator there, congratulating Emily Harrop, because it is absolutely true, Mireia. She is such a good sport. She is always so complimentary of her competitors, of the race courses, the organisers. She's just a great all-round phenomenal sports person.
Totally. I think that she has brought so much to the sport, and that she, I mean, she's a great athlete.
She is a phenomenal ambassador for the sport, and we are absolutely thrilled for her. She remains unbeaten, as I say, and happily and with great grace hands over her sprint and overall titles to Margot Ravenel and Giulia Murada, respectively. And there we see her flawless, really, from all three of these athletes all season. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I can't imagine it's hugely common to have the same three athletes on the podium pretty much for the entire season.
Hugely uncommon, you mean, right?
Yes, I'm saying I don't imagine that it is common. It must be very uncommon indeed. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's a very uncommon thing, and even more in a discipline like a sprint race, that it's so open on a sense, and many things can happen during races, as it's a very short format. I think that it's even more uncommon.
Yeah, and Julia Murada, other than the Olympics, has been on every single sprint podium this season. What an extraordinary achievement. And that includes being a silver medalist at the European Championships in Azerbaijan. So a really massive, massive congratulations to her. There we have Paul Verbniak watching from the sidelines. That is Leslie Harrop right there with the green sleeves. That's Emily's mum, and that's her dad, Chris. Big fans. There we have the Swiss contingent ready to roar for the men coming up very shortly. They've got Jon Kissler and Arno Lieta to cheer for, and we can see them getting ready to go. Oh, Mireia, are you ready? Because we've already had one great deal of excitement, and here comes round number 2.
And number 2 also, with adding that it will be the last race of Arno Lieta. He's in the final, so a beautiful way to close the circle, as you were mentioning just before.
Absolutely. Arno Lieta been on the Swiss team for a very long time, and Swiss national champion 2019, 2020, 22, 23, 24 and 25. 10 overall World Cup wins and a World Championship title. Oriol Cardona-Coll, though, World and Olympic champion. Thibaut Anselmet, number 1 in the rankings. Jon Kissler, absolutely rearing to go to try and build up some points towards this title. Luca Tomazzoni, the man to watch from Italy. There he is, the great Arno Lieta, lining up for the very last time in his Swiss uniform. And Inigo Martinez de Albornoz Marquez of Spain. Let's get ready for the men's final here at the ISMF World Cup finals in Villars. And I think we can probably expect some fairly hefty Swiss support, as they are just about to have their silence has been called. And they're off, and they are away for this. It was a bit of a slip there for Jon Kissler, but he has got himself ahead of Luca Tomazzoni as they head out into this very final race of the day, the final sprint race of the season. Thibaut Anselmet absolutely caning out there as Jon Kissler recovers and heads out ahead of Oriol Cardona-Coll. That is Luca Tomazzoni in the bright blue behind him. Arno Lieta in about 4th at the moment. But look at these two at the front, Mireia.
They've started super strong, both of them. Thibaut Anselmet, both, and Jon Kissler. Jon Kissler, that he slipped a bit on the start, as you mentioned, but this was not a problem to be able to do a super strong start and start opening a bit of a gap with Thibaut Anselmet.
Ooh, neck and neck as they head up here, and Jon Kissler just, it's not often you get ahead of Thibaut Anselmet in a boot pack, but he did. He managed to just take a few extra strides very quickly, but it is so close. Oriol Cardona-Coll coming in 3rd there. Inigo Martinez, Luca Tomazzoni, and in an unusual 6th place, Arno Lieta bringing up the rear. Look at Oriol coming up though, Mireia.
super well managed from Oriol from the foot part. Like both Thibaut Selmé and John Kissler had a little bit of a gap with the all other athletes, but Oriol managed to close this gap from the foot part to the last transition. And it's John Kissler in first, Thibaut Selmé in second. Oriol that is having a slower transition, exiting just now in third.
So Thibaut Selmé trying to perhaps think about some overtaking on the inside of some corners. He's done it before this season, but Jon Kissler managing to hold him at bay as they come down here. It's the men's final. Is the young Swiss athlete from Zurich going to hold off the overall title holder? And it's going to come down to a skate finish from Jon Kissler and Thibaut Selmé. Is it going to be France or Switzerland? And it is Jon Kissler. Oh, and there's a bit of controversy there, and not sure. Thibaut Selmé a little unhappy. Seemed to be a clash of skis there. For the moment, Jon Kissler ahead of Thibaut Selmé. Oriol Cardona-Coll in third. Inigo Martinez in fourth. Luca Tommazzoni in fifth. And we will soon hear coming across the line. Great cheers, I imagine, for Arno Lieta. But interesting. Did you see what happened there, Mireia?
I'm not sure. I think that it was on the skate line. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see again the footage.
Now there are rules about at a certain point. Once you hit the blue, you see the little blue on the right-hand side of your screen. They're little brushes. Once you hit those lanes, you are not allowed to overtake. Is that correct, Mireia? Perhaps talk us through that a little bit.
Exactly. To be able to avoid problems on the skating park, like one outlet closing the other, changing the trajectory, the speed, and all. Like each one has to choose a lane to say so.
Yeah, Thibaut Selmé not happy about whatever, and I think it's after those blue dashed lines there that we see in the snow, sort of towards the right. Arno Lieta there getting a great send-off from the Spaniards. So yeah, it was a slip at the start there from Jon Kissler, but as you say, it did not slow him down at all.
It was a very strong race, both from Jon Kissler and Thibaut Selmé. Even if Oriol at the end was able to close the gap with them, he had, I don't know what happened for Oriol on this last transition, taking the skins off, that he lost quite a bit of time. And finally, it was Jon Kissler and Thibaut Selmé that had been fighting for this first place throughout all the sprint that managed to get first and second.
We didn't see there what it was, but for the moment then, Jon Kissler of Switzerland takes the win. Thibaut Selmé of France, Oriol Cardona-Coll and Inigo Martinez of Spain in third and fourth, Luca Tommazzoni in fifth. And Arno Lieta bows out from an extraordinary career in ski mountaineering. A massive thank you and congratulations to him. He takes sixth in the final here in Villars. Thibaut Selmé, again, provisionally with my amateur addition mathematics, still takes the overall sprint win. Oriol Cardona-Coll takes second. Jon Kissler, even with the win there, I think stays in third. We will have to wait and see, because I am not the arbiter of all these things, Mireia, but great to see Thibaut, we think, winning that, taking it back from Oriol after losing it last year.
Yeah, in the men's race, we have had some beautiful rivalry between Thibaut, Oriol, Arnaud, now Jon Kissler for the past seasons also, and we have such an amazing level. And here we see the footage again from the arrival of Jon Kissler and Thibaut Selmé.
Yeah, so Thibaut goes to the left. And Jon Kissler, I mean, it wasn't perhaps the thing to do, but I think he was still within his rights to go wherever he wanted to.
Yeah, it's the athlete that it's in front that can choose which lane to to use, and sometimes like it's not as easy from the screen to say, oh, this was right or not, because we don't know like John's trajectory maybe like was bringing him there also. So these are usually things that happen. Well, usually not, but things that happen on races, and I mean, it's no one's fault to say so.
Oriol Cardona-Coll on his final podium of the season. He's had a few this year, notably at the Olympics, but in the gold medal position here, he is third for Spain, second place for France, and winner of the overall sprint title for the second time, Thibaut Anselmet of France. And taking the first win of the season and the final win of the season, it is from Switzerland on home soil, Jon Kissler. Regula Meyer, president of the ISMF, if I'm not much mistaken, giving the prizes there. So that is it. Emily Harrop and Thibaut Anselmet for France take both the wins of the men's, I beg your pardon, they did not. That was a fib. Jon Kissler of Switzerland takes the men's title in today's race. And I'll put my teeth back in. Let's start again. Emily Harrop of France wins the women's race here in Villars, and Jon Kissler wins on home soil in the men's race. It has been a really very exciting day. That's all from the sprint racing of 2026. The rankings are decided. You can go to the ISMF website and check those out to just check that I have done my sums correctly and everybody is in the place that we think they are. The Crystal Globes will be presented to the top three and the top three men.
Jon Kissler, the winner of the last sprint race of the season. You won the first one in Solitude in the United States as opening and as closing, but here at home it's different. We heard a lot of spectators along the course. I think it was fantastic.
Yeah, it is really fun to race here. My family are here and all the Swiss fans, it's amazing. And the course is quite fast, steep, and yeah, it's really cool to race. And in the first World Cup this year, Thibaut and Oriol weren't there, so now it's nice to race against them and be back on the podium, another victory, and yeah, it's such a nice day. Yeah.
So I think it was a fantastic season for you this year, always in the top position. So you learn a lot. You are quite young, but I think that the futures can be yours.
I hope so. After the first victory, there were some close finishes in the 4th and 5th position. And then I was like, now I really need to go back on the podium for the home World Cup. And so nice that it worked out.
Thank you. Congratulations and have a nice rest now.
Thank you very much.
Jon Kissler taking the men's sprint win there here in Villars-sur-Olon. And there we have it. Confirmation very quickly. Thank you. Margot Ravenel takes the World Cup sprint title for France. The first person to do so for a very long time. And Julia Murada in second. Emily Harrop in third. There we see the remaining top 20. Marianne Faton just outside the top 10. Despite her European and Olympic titles. And in the men's category, Thibaut Anselmet takes the win back from Oriol Cardona-Coll, who won it last year. And Jon Kissler comes in third behind the Spaniard Arno Lieta, finishes his very last season ever in 4th place, having won it 3 times before. And we have a huge Spanish showing there, 4 Spaniards in the top 10. Nicolo Canclini up into 6th. And there is the remainder of the top 20 for the men. It has been a very exciting sprint race season. What a phenomenal amount of racing, what an insane amount of additional races such as the Olympics and all sorts going on. Thank you to everybody for watching. Mireia and I will be back tomorrow for the final race of the season, the mixed relay. A massive congratulations to Arno Lieta on his retirement. Mireia and I will see you tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central European summertime. Until then, bye-bye.
Mistake will be very expensive. Oriel Cardona has overtaken Paul Vernier. Fitness, power and control. Another win. It is not all we are here for. This is an Olympics test event.
Committed to the evolution of ski mountaineering, now and for the future.